witches.
Hello. Hi, hello. Sorry. Oh my god, what the fuck?
I don't know.
Hello. I was
Hello.
thinking of Mrs. Doubtfire. Okay. Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode of True Crime. One of these days, I'll get my shit together. But until then, I am an unmedicated ADHD brained person. So here we go. Welcome to the club. So we are going. Well, I'm going to be talking about somebody who is becoming more popular in recent I don't want to say social media world, but like entertainment world. Netflix is coming out with, or came out with, a story about a man named Ed Gein, and he is um not a serial killer really, but like could be classified as what the fuck. um and it's like an 8 episode thing, but it's gonna be our true crime episode today. So
I like it.
excuse me, I had pop today. Ugh. Okay, so without further ado, Ed Gein. He is a man who has crimes that were so grotesque, very surreal. They actually didn't just shock the nation, they redefined horror. His story has actually inspired a lot of horror classics. But behind that pop culture legend is actually a deeply disturbed man who was shaped by isolation, trauma, and obsession. So, we're going to peel back these layers of Ed Gein's life and learn out what he did and why. Now, you might enjoy more of a fun. I don't know how real the Netflix story is because I haven't watched it. So, if you want a brief synopsis, this is basically Ed Gein's life, but they could include something else more in depth than I am. But anyways, so and whenever I hear Ed Gein, I don't know why, but I think of him as it was like a serial killer who like dressed up like a clown and murdered boys and kept them under his house. I don't remember his name.
Yep. I know who you're talking about,
But
though.
yeah, I don't know why, but like I feel like Ed Gein came from that time period. And he didn't. He was actually born in 1906 in La Crosse, Wisconsin, during a time when rural America was steeped in religious conservatism and social isolation. So we're thinking like early 1900s, not necessarily that like the frontier has been completely and utterly like
John Wayne
hit
Gacy.
with, yeah, it's probably
I
why, because it's like
couldn't let it go. I
Gacy,
had to figure
Gain,
it out.
yeah. So like we're talking about like the early 1900s, and I'm telling you what, like Oregon Trail was all about the like 1800s, man. We're talking early settler kind of time frame. So these locations were not necessarily big populations. So
Wait, when did you say he was born?
1906.
1906?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's not too far off from John Wayne Gacy. He was born in the 40s.
No, but I was thinking like the killings happened at the same time.
Oh, okay, got you.
I don't know why, but like if you're a serial killer, like I feel like you are all at the same time.
I think in the 70s. The 70s was just the
Drugs.
Curial. Okay, it's
Drugs.
fine. I wish.
Drugs. Anyways, so his family moved to a remote farm in Plainfield in 1915. A place Augusta Gain, or Ed's mother, chose to escape what she called was a sinkhole of filth. Augusta was a religious zealot who is it zealot or zealot?
I think it's zealot.
You know what? You're not doing anything in this episode, so we're going to find out real quick. We got time.
Zealot.
Zealot. Excuse my incorrect pronunciation. Okay, let me reverse. Augusta was a religious zealot who believed women were vessels of sin. Okay, hold on. If she believed women were vessels of sin, does that mean she believed herself was a vessel of sin? Was she like that person?
I don't know.
I'm thinking like you ever watch the movie The Da Vinci Code?
Mm-hmm.
When the religious guy would like beat the shit out of himself.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Hmm. Weird. I don't know. I'm mentally unwell. And I know like that's bad. So how mentally unwell or not unwell do you have to be to think that this is okay? I don't know. Anyways, okay. Augusta isolated Ed and his brother Henry. She forbid friendships. She condemned sexuality, and preaching daily from the Bible. So, day in and day out, no friends, no sexuality of any sort. Read your Bible. She preached passages about death and divine punishment. Ed's father, George, was a violent alcoholic who beat his sons. Which brings up another question. If I don't know how these two people could like get married. Like I see like if you guys got married and then like shit started happening and you're like, well, too far in. Because like back at that time no one got divorced.
Right.
But like whatever. um so Ed was shy. He was bullied at school. He was an easy target. And what the fuck? My thing just refreshed, so now I gotta find it. Okay, anyways, so he was a very shy kid. He was often bullied. He was seen as different because he wouldn't actually act the way boys should act around women. He was quite proper and he is like different than what everybody else was. He also had a lazy eye and a speech impediment, so he was just an easy target. Despite all of that, though, he adored his mom. His mom became the center of his entire emotional world. So after George died in 1940, Ed and Henry became the family's breadwinners. And Henry, as some child would do, began to rebel against Augusta's control. However, Ed remained devoted. So, in 1944, Henry died under suspicious circumstances during a brush fire. There were bruises found on his body, and the death was ruled accidental, though things are just a little weird around this time. Just 4 years, you suddenly die? Yeah, okay. However, just a year later, Augusta suffered 2 strokes and had passed. Ed was devastated. He sealed off her bedroom like a shrine and began living in squalor. This whole event had marked the beginning of his psychological collapse. So in post-war rural Wisconsin, Ed Gein became a quiet handyman and a babysitter. But
Interesting.
inside his farmhouse, it's like two opposite sides. But inside his farmhouse, he ended up building a world of horror. Between 1947 and 1952, Ed began robbing graves. He was targeting women who resembled his mother. He admitted to exhuming bodies and using their remains to create grotesque items like skull bowls, masks made with human skin, and even a quote unquote woman suit he wore to try and become his mother.
Oh.
His crimes did escalate to murder, though. Mary Hogan, a tavern owner, vanished in 1954, and Bernice Warden, a hardware store owner, disappeared in 1957. Her body was found hanging in Gaines' shed, gutted like a deer.
Mm.
Inside the house, police found a nightmare. They found preserved heads, organs in jars, furniture made of skin, and even a box of noses. Gain calmly confessed to the murders and to robbing graves. He said he was trying to bring his mother back. So, like modern day Frankenstein. Ed Gein's psyche is actually a case study in how trauma, isolation, and mental illness can converge into horror. In 1957, he was diagnosed with chronic undifferentiated schizophrenia, which is now an outdated term, but he exhibited hallucinations. He had claimed to hear his mother's voice years after her death. He had delusions. He believed he could resurrect her by wearing the skin of other women. That is crazy. Like you could read it and then all of a sudden it just like hits you.
Yeah, I feel like if you say it out loud, it like
you can read it all you want, but then the moment
yeah.
you're like, damn, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
And like just thoughts everywhere. He couldn't think of it. His thoughts were so disorganized, and especially under emotional stress. The worse his emotional stress were, the more disorganized he was. However, modern forensic psychiatrists had questioned this diagnosis. Professor Paul Mullen argues that Gaines' hallucinations may have been grief-induced rather than psychotic. He lacked persecutory.
What now?
There's just like a select amount of words that, like, no matter how many times I try to say it, I just can't say it. It does not fucking matter.
Okay.
I just. Oh, I don't even remember what the other word would be. I don't even know how to say it. Persecutory.
I don't even know what you're trying to say.
That is the problem. I can't even say it, so I don't even know how to pronounce it. Hold on. Persecutory. Oh, exactly how I said it.
Oh, I don't know
Okay.
what that means then.
He had delusions.
Okay.
And it didn't meet like today's definition of schizophrenia, basically. Today's criteria for whatever. But these delusions are like false beliefs that like one is being harmed, followed, spied on, or threatened by others. So like paranoia in a way. They can be like distressing and can have significant social or emotional trauma led to it. But anyways, Gaines' behavior also followed traits of psychopathy. He lacked empathy. He had detachment from human suffering. He had superficial charm and impulsivity. but he wasn't sadistic. His crimes were actually more ritualistic, not driven by pleasure or dominance. So probably a little bit of that religious trauma in a way. The FBI later classified his behavior as a ritualized grief response, not sexual sadism. He was also described as a gynophilic who was obsessively attracted to the female body, not transgender. He wanted to be inside a woman, not become one. And he couldn't get inside one, so he wore them. This distinction is quite crucial to avoid misrepresenting gender identity. So in 1958, Ed Gein was declared legally insane and unfit for trial. He was later committed to Central State Hospital. Sorry, I just got a text message from somebody I'm not a fan of. He was committed to Central State Hospital, where he lived quietly for a decade. In 1968, he was deemed competent and tried for Bernice Worden's murder. He was found guilty, but ruled insane and sent to Mendota Mental Health Institute. He spent the rest of his life in psychiatric care, engaging in occupational therapy and reading magazines. Nurses often described him as quiet, courteous, and almost childlike. Ed Gein died in 1984 from respiratory failure due to lung cancer. He was buried beside his mother in Plainfield Cemetery, and his headstone was repeatedly stolen and eventually removed to prevent this from happening later on. Not necessarily, like, if we were to open up a case study of him and his psyche nowadays, I honestly would probably say something more along the lines of, like, not psychosis, but I would say he's got, like, that he, like, never fully developed mentally. He was always kept in that childlike state. So he was never actually fully able to mature. And so he did the only thing that he knew that would be, like, comforting to him was his mom. So ritualistic kind of stuff. Divine punishment. He probably thought along the lines of, like, this is how I can get my mom back, like, repent for my sins sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Neither here nor there. I don't think anyone's going to open this up to, discuss and get all kinds of background on it, but that's what they believed at that time, and that's kind of where they left it. But that pop culture reference I said earlier, his crimes didn't just stay in Wisconsin. They actually went to Hollywood. He had, his story had inspired Norman Bates in Psycho, the hotel owner with the mother fixation. He also inspired Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, who as the killer who wears human skin, and Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs, or the man who creates a woman suit from his victims. Gaines' story shifted horror from supernatural monsters to a psychologically broken human. He became the blueprint for the monster next door, or the quiet loner hiding unspeakable secrets. His case also influenced criminal law. In 1968, verdict helped shape Wisconsin's insanity defense statute and inspired reforms in psychiatric evaluations for institutionalized offenders. Ed Gein's story is more than gore. It's actually a tragic tale of isolation, trauma, and a mind unraveling in silence. And it kind of forces us to ask, like, what makes someone a monster? Like, what triggers the descent into this world? Is it nature? So is it like an actual event? Is it lack of nurture or too much nurture? Or is it the absence of a connection? So it really shows that your mind is considered a fragile thing, and that something as simple as losing your mom can really throw you into a whole new world.
I would also
Excuse
like
me,
to
God.
say that losing your mom does not sound simple at all. But
Been there, done that. It is not.
Right. So, but I get what you're
But
saying though.
yeah, so like, I don't know, it's, I don't want to say like, you know that saying where they say like God sends, like, test his strongest warriors or whatever. Like, I get the idea behind it, but it's not that simple. Like, our brains are very complex. Things can really fuck it up.
Oh yeah.
So, and he is just one of those cases, unfortunately. Like, I feel so, like, it's really sad because you're like, man, you don't want to feel bad for a serial killer, but like,
Yeah, I get what you're saying though. Like a lot of the
you
times
know,
they didn't get that way for no reason.
yeah, like, you know, in the book of Mice and Men,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the guy. Tiny, I think his name is, literally. Um, he's basically like a 6'5", like, bodybuilder looking guy with like the brain of like a 7-year-old.
Right.
And he's got like a really tragic kind of story. And he's very childlike, and it's like, damn, that could literally happen to anybody.
Oh yeah, for sure it could.
And it's like, you're not supposed to feel bad for them, but like, you do.
Yeah, because like
It's
there's
called,
always more to the story, right?
yeah, it's called empathy, but
Yeah. Not everybody has it.
a lot of people lack it nowadays.
Honestly.
But that is the story of Ed Gein. If you want to do more research, you can. If not, you can always go watch the Netflix episode. And if you're just like, yeah, I'm good, I'm going to stay away from that.
That's
Okay.
fine too.
I like horror movies, so I'd probably be like, I'm going to go watch these movies now. I mean, I just got done watching like all the It movies, and I'm like, yeah. Now I'm like all into the Stephen King, like, lore universe of that world. So now I'm like going down a rabbit hole. But until next time.
Bye.